Christina from City Right Knits coming on with an update for you and the start to summer. We're here, we're in June. I can't believe we're already in the beginning of summer, and I haven't made any summer plans yet as far as my crochet projects. So that's what we're here today to discuss. I'm going to go over some different things that I'm working on and just kind of sort my ideas out with you as we're rolling into summer. So if you haven't been here before, hi, I'm Christina from City Right Knits. I'm always working on something colorful. It's usually crochet, and I'm always having to manipulate a pattern or two to become my own. So if that's your vibe, you're totally in the right place. If you're here tuning in again, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you. I can't believe that we're growing a little community here on YouTube discussing just, day-to-day crochet and a few knitting projects here and there, but really talking about fibers, different yarns, and getting familiar with different type yarns to use for different projects. So if you are into summer crochet, I'm totally here for you because summer is my favorite time for crochet, and I just get excited by the colors and the textures and just the fun, whimsical spirit that you can have in a summertime warm weather crochet. So let's get into it and let's have a little discussion as we kick off summer. So I'm so happy to have you here. I actually have been trying to come on more regularly with a crochet and chat update. However, I think I skipped my update with you in in May. I just got so sidetracked. I had a bunch of family and friends coming to visit, and I honestly put my crochet hook down for a little bit. So it's been kind of nice to pick back up, see where my whips are, and I want to show you. So come on. So the main reason I'm coming on today is because this week I'm headed off on a trip to London, and I'm really excited because since moving back, I've kind of missed my friends and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. I've been invited to Royal Ascot with some friends, so I'm going to be going to that. I have my hat, I have my outfit. I'm very much looking forward to it. I have been before, but I feel like since it's not my first time now, I kind of have some lessons learned. I'm definitely going to be putting some flat shoes in my bag because by the end of the day, standing out in the heat, that definitely takes its toll. So I'm gonna be going to London for that, and then afterwards I'm going on a little trip to Italy, and I was really hoping to have some lemon themed crochet done. I got partially through this kind of lemon shaped plush that I was hoping to finish, but really just got sidetracked on that. So I don't have any lemon themed crochet projects like I originally had planned for. But let me talk to you today about what I do have in the works and just some summer yarn weights that I'm using, and maybe that you can use some too. So I have about 3 works in progress that are my early summer works that I have just kind of stalled out on. I feel like I made good progress at the end of April, May, gearing up towards summer, and then May just got away from me and I just really have everything in the whip pile. So let me show you what those things are. The first of which is going to be using this mega acrylic yarn from Hobbii. It's actually their daily stitch, and it's the mega. The reason it's called mega is because it is such a big ball. You can see how big it is. And it's not that it's a thick weight or anything. It's actually a DK weight yarn. So it's an acrylic, but it's quite thin. It comes in wonderful bright colors, and you can just use it mainly. I have it for a blanket. I'm gonna show you. I'm holding it together with this white color. So I have a yellow and a white color. They're so large, they're really just, they're this big. They're so big, but what I have these for is I'm making a blanket with them, and I'm actually updating a design that I have already for my, before it was called Easy Peasy Blanket, but I think I'm going to rename it something a little catchier. You can see that I've used those 2 yarns. I've actually held them together to get kind of a more creamy yellow color. The stitch I'm using for this blanket is called a lemon peel stitch. I'm going to be coming on with a tutorial and sometime this summer showing you exactly how to do the lemon peel stitch, holding 2 strands of yarn together. And the special thing about this blanket is that I'm using a speed hook. This was one of the very first crochet hooks that I was introduced to as a newbie crocheter, and it's just like a magic tool in your bag because this is a size like Q or P to like a 15 millimeter size or something like that. So this is a speed hook, and it really just gives you this chunky, beautiful, flowy texture when you're working a blanket. I've even made scarves, and I've like had the idea to make a sweater out of one of these because they're so like light and chunky, because it puts such big holes into the actual crochet work that even though this is a blanket, it's just so lightweight. It's feather light. And where I'm at this blanket is I've made it actually kind of baby blanket size. It's not a full adult size blanket, but I've done this because I'm going to be updating a pattern of mine. I'm going to be including photos as well as a video tutorial here, and I want to add a very pretty like scalloped edge to this in yellow and maybe use a little sparkle yarn with that when I add it. So I'm going to be coming up with a tutorial showing you how I'm going to add that wavy edge. If you follow along on Instagram, you know that I've posted another Scrappy blanket that has a wavy edge that I seem to get a lot of interest in. So I'm just gonna duplicate that edge here for you. And the reason I chose yellow and white is because of my upcoming Italy trip, and I just have lemons on the brain. So this is a lemon peel stitch using yellow and white mega acrylic from Hobbii. This is one of the projects that I'm working on. I still have some filming to do, and I feel like filming requires a sunny day, and it has to be quiet in the house, and you have to have your nails painted. So that's why I'm kind of on hold with this project. But I do plan on coming on with a brand new pattern update as well as a tutorial on how to make the blanket and the wavy edge. So that's coming to you soon. Perfect summer weight blanket, so light, so colorful. This can really just be in any color that you have at your house. I feel like you could even hold 3 strands together and really get an interesting swirl. It's really great with that mega acrylic because these balls of mega acrylic are kind of similar to Lion Brand Pound of Love. If you've ever used those, you know they're like the big, huge balls that you can get at the craft store. So this is really a nice option that Hobbii has for an acrylic blanket that you just need something quick and easy, and this has been a perfect project for that. So the lemon peel blanket is the #1 whip that I have in my pile. Okay, #2 whip of the summer. Let me show you this one. I've teased it a little bit on some stories. I've posted a reel or two. I do have some footage on how I'm making this, and I plan to come on with more, but it just requires a little bit of editing. So let me show you what I have. It is still in whip status. It is wild, it is crazy, but that's what I'm here for, like to have fun with crochet, because if you're not going to, then like kind of what's the point? So here we go. This is going to be a Scrappy yarn dress. It's in the halter shape, so you can see this is the neck part, and it's coming down at an angle around the bust and under the arms, and I've actually made 2 pieces. So it's front and back, and you can see that it's just like wild and crazy colors. It's super fun, and if you notice, it actually has some texture to it. So why does it have texture? Let me explain. So the whole purpose behind this Scrappy featherweight dress is that I'm going to be using this fun yarn from Hobbii called Soft Lash. It's a beautiful eyelash yarn that's just, it comes in the cutest, most whimsical, like I want to say circus colors, and I've had the pleasure of selecting 4 of these colors to use in my new Scrappy dress. You can see that the weight is just like, it's super thin thread weight yarn. Let me see if I can get one of the threads out for you. So it's a thread weight, let me see, but it has these beautiful eyelash hairs on it. And contrary to what you might think, it doesn't shed. I've been using it for this project, and you can see I'm cutting a lot of ends and have a lot of scraps. No shedding, like honestly. This doesn't even shed, whereas like mohair sheds all the time. So this is actually their acrylic eyelash yarn, and you can see it's super fine thread. If I wrap it around my finger, you can see how thin it is, and these beautiful long hairs. It's actually I frogged a few of these rows because, you know, this is just an experimental project for me. I'm not following a pattern. I'm just kind of like, you know, as I go, I'm seeing how it works. And so I've actually frogged a few rows of the eyelash yarn, and surprisingly, it does not tangle. Like, I haven't had it in knots at all. Like, as you pull the thread, because it's so silky fine, it just kind of like loosely comes undone. And it's really like blown me away. I'm just like, this is beautiful. I recommend, like, if you're looking for a novelty yarn to add to like a row or two of a sweater or a blanket, especially if you're making a baby blanket, this would be so soft and like interesting just to feel. So I definitely recommend this if you're looking for a novelty yarn in your stash. And sometimes it's hard to find really pretty novelty yarns. And I know for me, I've gotten novelty yarns before and don't really remember where I've picked them up, and it's like, So it's really great that Hobbie's come out with this new line of eyelash yarn. It's called Soft Lash. And I've kind of I've filmed a video for you showing you like which colors I'm doing and how I'm doing the increases, and now I've gotten to the point where I'm just adding length. So I've added like my first row of green here, and I'm just going wild with the colors. So how I selected the colors for this was I said, okay, I have this beautiful eyelash yarn. I'm really inspired by like a stripy traditional crochet summer dress, and what colors am I going to use? So I went into the yarn stash. There's actually a video for you with me behind the scenes, like selecting the yarns for this, already posted on my channel. And I've grabbed like this bag to put them all in, and it's all my acrylic colors. It's just random acrylic, any color I have that I thought would go well together, and they're all different brands. So I have like some Red Heart in here, I have Hobbii Amigo, I have Pound of Love, I have actually a few cottons in here, which is just Lily Sugar and Cream, and I have some Loops and Threads, and I have some Red Heart Super Saver. I have all of the scrap yarns in here, and I'm just kind of going through on this project. And I've started with this neon pink, which is Loops and Threads neon, and I've just kind of added a soft pink, an orange, a white. I've added my first row of the eyelash, and I'm just kind of intermixing the bold colors with some rows of neutrals. So that's how I'm doing it. If you notice, it's not like every single color is a bright color. You have to have some neutrals in there to kind of balance it out, and when the eye sees it, it goes towards the bright colors, but you break it up with the neutrals. So that's where I'm at so far. This is just a scrappy project that I'm working on. I do intend for it to be a full-length dress, and the reason I'm making it in 2 panels versus in the round is because it's just an effort to kind of save my eyelash yarn. So on the front, I'm doing like every 3 or 4 rows in eyelash, and on the back, I'm skipping that. So like every other set of 3 or 4 rows. So that way I just don't use as much eyelash yarn, and I can save it for another project. So this is a scrappy dress I'm working on. It is bold, wild, crazy, but I really just have a vision for it, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. I am going to be posting a video on how I'm adding the colors, where I got started, more about the yarn, and you can already see a video showing you the yarn and how I've selected the crazy colors. That's already on my video, so be sure to check that out if you are into just like a scrappy stash jive dress. Okay, third whip, and my last whip for you. I love to use lightweight yarn in summer. This is my favorite. I first got into using lightweight yarn probably in the summer of 2021. I did a campaign with Hobbii, and this was for their Dahlia yarn. And I'm not sure that they have the Dahlia anymore. They've kind of got, I feel like they had the Dahlia, didn't have the Dahlia, and they've introduced like different yarns that are similar weight, like Twister, Sultan Pastello, all these different ones. So this was like my first time working with thin yarn. I had never tried it before. It was kind of intimidating because working with a weight of like number 2 yarn is just kind of like, oh, this is gonna take me forever. I'm gonna have to use a small hook. But I was really, really, really like over the moon in love when I designed my very first thing using this weight yarn. Let me show you. Here's what I designed using this yarn. This is my seashell cover up. You can find the full pattern on hobbii.com. Check out the beautiful fade front and back. So this has like kind of a light purple, light pink, light blue. This is just the yarn color that I chose. It has the fade naturally in it, so you don't have to do anything as far as changing the color. And I loved it so much that I actually made it in a different colorway. So this one is more of like a bright pink and a light pink, and on the back it has purple and bright pink. So this is a seashell cover up. It's totally, you can manipulate it. You can make the straps longer or shorter. You can make the length longer, and it's just a fun, easy thing to throw on over a swimsuit when you're at the pool or the beach, and it's lightweight and it doesn't wrinkle, and you can just ball it up next to you on the sand. So it's like so perfect. And I also use this yarn for another design. This is called the peony dress. This isn't on hobbii.com, but this is on my Etsy. It's also using this thin weight yarn, and what I've done here is I actually did break the yarn and manipulated the colors, and the reason I did that is because this was made with scrap yarns. I just had a bunch of this thin weight yarn left, and so I just added it in blocks of colors with some cute intricate granny squares. In the middle there is a pattern for this on Etsy, full pattern, and it's been pattern tested by other crocheters, so hopefully you fall in love with that one. There's a top version of that also, not just the dress but the top. So all that to be said, I love using lightweight yarn. I'm going to be coming on with another video showing you my newest design using lightweight yarn, which is my glamour gown. If you've seen my stories, it is a green gown with like big dramatic flowers, and the special part about it is that it has little like sheer sequined flowers all along the bust and the yoke part. So as a crazy crocheter, and knowing that it's summer and I love this lightweight yarn, I've gone to my stash once again, and I've selected all of my lightweight yarns. Here's what they look like. They come in these cakes. So they're not a ball of yarn, they're a cake of yarn. Because they're so thin, they're really like vacuum packed into this cake. That way they don't tangle. And it's really easy to work from the center, and they have like a center pull on them. And it's just, they're so lightweight. Let me show you what I'm doing. I knew that I loved my seashell cover up, and I kind of wanted to come up with a new revamp of that design. So I'm using the same stitch that I used for the seashell cover up, and I'm going to be creating a caftan. I'm working on it to have the front panel fit long ways like this, and then the bottom's gonna come long. And what I've actually done is looked up some sewing patterns on how to do a caftan, and I'm going to mimic that in crochet. So let me show you the yarn that I've selected for that. So I'm going to be making the caftan out of this using the same stitch pattern that I'm using for my seashell cover up. This is just Cotton King's Twirls. This might be the one that they've discontinued. I honestly can't remember, but Hobbii has come on with new ones that you can find just like this. Same color fade, they'll just call it a different thing. But this is actually Ecotech certified, which I really enjoy about using cottons. It just means that the dyeing process and the manufacturing has been done with like sustainability in mind, and different chemicals that they use and stuff like that. So this one is, what's the weight? This is a 200-gram ball, and it recommends honestly like a 2.5 to 3.5 millimeter hook, but I'm using it with a 4 millimeter hook. It's super lightweight, it's very beautiful. It comes in these beautiful colors. It's a fine weight too, so let me show you how thin it is. And if you notice, it has some like untwined strands. So the special thing about this yarn is it has 4 untwined strands. So they're not like wound up on each other, they're just loose. And the thing about this that makes it special is because it has these loose strands, it doesn't tangle. By the way, I've used it for all these different designs, it does not tangle. It gives the fabric a light, airy drape. Kind of similar to when I was using the speed hook, and it adds air to it. This, at the fine end of the spectrum, because the strands are not twined together, they're just looser and flowier, and so the fabric that you create is just way more drapey. It's just beautiful. So this is the seashell stitch motif that it's actually probably hard to see on camera, but it has a little, you can see the gaps in it, and it's gonna be a beautiful motif, and this is gonna be for the caftan that I'm creating. So I've started from the center. This is where the easy pull is, and it's just like a little tab you can pull when you start the yarn. And so it's gonna naturally swirl through all these colors, which is great. Like I said, you don't have to do any of the color changes. It does it for you. So if you've never used a variegated cake, I really suggest it because it's just so easy. You just sit there and do your motif and the color changes are done for you. So what I've done here is this is actually going to fit like this. And you can see where the back is there, but it's gonna come like this. And if you can imagine a kaftan, it's gonna kind of hang long at the sleeves. I'll obviously have to do a break at the neck. And then the bottom half, I'm gonna do in another flat panel and join it. So it's gonna come this way and then hang down in another piece. So I'm really hoping to do it in 2 pieces. I may have to do it in 3 based on how I'm gonna break the neck. But it's just a project that I've just started. I'm just kind of winging it, knowing that I love using my lightweight yarns in summer and I have this stash, so I may as well just grab one and start going. I'm going to be traveling, like I said, so I'm hoping that this is going to be my travel project on the plane because it's just one ball. I don't have to have like a bunch of different balls everywhere, and I don't have to cut the yarn because all of the colors are just naturally working in. So if I don't have to cut the yarn and I don't have to keep track of multiple balls, then it just has less likelihood of tangling and all that. So I'm really hoping this is going to be an easy crochet project. Plus, it's good to get like a little bit of crochet footage when you're on vacation and kind of mix things up and have a little bit of like background photos that you can use and stuff. It's just kind of fun to remember your projects that you're working on your different vacations and holidays. So the other whip that I've been working on in this time is I'm working on a baby blanket. My cousin's having a baby and it's a boy, so I've already finished the blanket and it's already been like mailed off, so I can't show you, but it is a plushy chenille yarn blanket using this honey bunny yarn. Let me take one out and show you. You've seen this for amigurumi and stuff that people make. It's just that plushy kind of velvet yarn, you sometimes hear it called. And I made a blanket that has a cactus and it's just like double crochet lines across, and it's tapestry crochet, so it has the motif of a cactus and it has his name at the top. And I actually made a little cactus plushie toy to go with it. And one interesting thing this project has taught me is the difference between chenille yarn and velvet yarn. So I had never used Honey Bunny before, but I have used Toucan Fine. Toucan Fine looks like this. Honey Bunny looks like this. And you might be saying, okay, what's the difference? The difference is that chenille yarn is woven with like the fabric in there, and it's like they cut it into shape, so it's kind of like a tube and they cut it into shape. And velvet yarn is little fibers woven onto the finer thread. So that's like the manufacturing difference. And if you look very up close, you can see that Honey Bunny is a little smoother. The fibers are a little smoother. Toucan Fine, the fibers are a little more buccal, or like have a texture to them. So both very similar. They feel the same in the hand, honestly, but they're slightly different. So doing this project for my cousin has really taught me that these yarns are different. While they kind of look the same and they honestly feel the same, maybe Honey Bunny slightly softer, they're different. So that was an interesting experiment for me. I will say between the two, I would go with Honey Bunny. I didn't experience hardly any shedding. There was a little shedding when I cut the yarn ends and little puffs came off of the texture. With Toucan Fine, it actually shed quite a bit when I used it, and I have used it to make like 3 different blankets, so I've used it a lot. And this Honey Bunny I used for the first time making 1 blanket and a amigurumi plushie, and it like didn't shed at all. So I will say that if I had to get a chenille versus velvet yarn, I would go chenille, and I would choose the Honey Bunny over Toucan Fine. But I've used both and here they are. So if you are into the kind of blankets that have this texture, then that's just something for you to try if you haven't already. I've also used the Bernat Velvet, which I also have here in my storage bag. And the Bernat Velvet has more of like a little opalescence sheen to it, and it's velvet also, so like this toucan fine, it's gonna shed a little bit. So that's just different ones for you to try if you're interested in doing some blankets or whips using a plushy yarn like that, because I know amigurumi is like very popular at the moment. So that's just something that I've learned in my little early summer whip pile, and hopefully it's helpful to you. But I'm gonna get going now. I have some packing to do. I honestly leave this week in like 2 days. So I wanna make sure that I have everything. I'm doing last minute laundry, last minute project planning. Plus I should probably get to filming some more of that lemon peel blanket for you. And I really hope that you maybe found some joy in this summer whips video, and I want you to let me know, like, what are you working on this summer? What are some fibers that you love using in summer or that you're interested in? And let's have a conversation. Thanks so much for being here. I can't wait until the next time. I might come on with a little update from the road and let you know what I'm working on, but can't wait to see you again soon. Bye.